So I've just been asked a question about the difficulty in getting up in the morning, and it can take an hour or so to really feel awake and get moving. So it's a question I understand, and I've heard from many people, and even in earlier years have experienced. So for the first aspect of it, it's nothing to feel, guilty or embarrassed about. But there's a number of things to look at. And again, that question coming to me now is a little general. So we'd need to look at, well, where in the world are you? And what is the light-darkness schedule? Then more specifically to you, what time do you go to bed at night? And then what time are you trying to wake up at? What is the quality of your sleep? Are you aware of that? What is the environment of the room you're in terms of temperature, darkness, etc.? So these are all key things, and that's something you could take a hold of now. Set up your environment for sleep. That's something I do very clearly, to have a dark, cool setup. And then a big, I've found, and I'm more like a night person, late, but the yoga world got me into getting up really early. And then having to work maybe is a bummer. It's not really what you want to get up and do. So, for me it's always get up early, but I have practice. And practice done well, done correctly is so impactful. It literally, corrects the imbalances in your autonomic functioning, which will impact how you sleep. Because it's all in the same zone at the base of the brain. The body temperature, the impact on other hormonal distribution through the body, the sleep schedule, the regulation of tissue clocks, all that is in this zone. And in a way, yogic practices, especially the breath ones, are designed in a remarkable way to target that zone. And of course, we'll do more research over time and start to show some of these things with more accuracy on that. But the general results of studies so far, and what I've looked at, and anyone who really practices understands what I'm saying, the impact on our functioning that it seems to be out of our direct control, and how that can regulate. Now, I find a big part to help that is I got to watch my time going to bed, because I'll naturally want to stay later longer. So can I get in? And then I know I'm fine on 6 hours, so I try to give a 6.5 hour window. Now, what I used to do is I used to get up and just have a candle, because there's a nice soft feeling. But I wouldn't wake up as well. So what did shift was, I'd get up, get in the bathroom, and just put on the light. Painful at first, but that light, artificial as it is, really impacts right through the retina on the kind of blue light registering, and shifts activity away from pineal onto pituitary. And with that alone, it's dark outside, it might even be early, that brightness in that bathroom, getting into a routine, in about 5 minutes changes the body chemistry, and there is a wake-up effect. And what they call like the stress hormone, cortisol, which if deregulated, out of whack, is overly expressed throughout the day, and that's people's poor stress management. Then ironically, that as it's deregulated and too much throughout the day, means it's high by the time you go to sleep. It's actually too low when you wake up and you don't feel great, and then it's off throughout the day. So as you correct and regulate your inner functioning, what should happen with something like cortisol, which is released from your adrenal glands above your kidneys, is that its highest point should be within the first hour after you wake up. And I was obviously blocking that with just a candle and being in the dark. So when I get into the light, there's the shift, and the melatonin production will stop. The hypothalamus to pituitary will take over. It directly influences. Directly influences the that cycle across the nervous system and across cortisol production. And they even have a name for it, call it the cortisol awakening response. So it's essential. So those things are beneficial, Take a regular practice to impact your own autonomic functioning. Do things, 1 at night to set yourself up so you sleep better, 2 in the morning so that you wake up better. And those I've just gone over. Darkness at night, in a nutshell, bright, whatever time it is you're getting up. And maybe you're prone to lots of naps throughout the day. Personally, I don't do any. If I need to, I'll take a shavasana. And the energy is continuously high. I have to do a lot of mental, intellectual-based work. And I don't conk out, which has happened in the past, but the effective practices and the nutrition has a huge impact to keep the mind fresh. And nutrition maybe might be the last aspect of this. Some people could starve themselves before bed, or you could overeat before bed, right? And either way, maybe your brain is dealing with too much. I literally, just 2 days ago, saw a brand new paper out that had measured, had taken a group of subjects, studied, and had changed just by a half hour to an hour the time they went to bed and the time they get up. And that actually, when it went off regularity of those times, it affected the heart rate level, had it higher, which meant the restfulness of sleep was less. So if you're doing extra activity, or you're eating more before bed, or you're actually really hungry going to bed, the system is under a little bit of stress, heart rate might be up, and therefore it's going to affect how you sleep. So you could have a teaspoon of coconut oil, MCT oil, honey, even before bed. Personally, I find I don't need to. I'm okay, but I know that works for some. And because the brain does do a certain amount of work. Also, how you lay in bed. Personally, I've found now the best way is just to lay prone like that, with the pillow kind of at an angle, so it just supports my neck and head. And based on the stats I get from the reading of my sleep quality, I do a lot of deep sleep. And feel through that stress is managed well. So hopefully there's some helpful tips in there to help with that, going to bed and waking up.